grew up in the shadow of my father, a respected merchant whose spice business colored our small port town with the sense of cinnamon, saffron, and pepper. When he passed away, I stepped into his shoes, determined not only to sustain, but to expand. Soon I filled the warehouse with Himalayan salt, rare herbs, organic sea salt, and exotic blends from across the seas. Business flourished, and so did my pride. I soon enjoyed excessive pleasure and sensory indulgence. I spoilt my companions with expensive fine wines, jewelry, and cash. I wore silk garments stitched with gold, changed watches as often as the tides, and showered wealth on fleeting company. Nights were spent in noisy parties, where laughter was hollow and wine spilled like water. I convinced myself that this excess was a blessing from God, proof of divine favor. Yet my family, who carried the business alongside me, grew distant, their sacrifices drowned in my extravagance. But indulgence has a hidden cruelty. The finest wine dulled into bitterness, silk lost its sheen, and the richest foods left me feeling empty. I switched to expensive alcohol brands, the ones reserved for those with deep pockets. My senses, bombarded with constant, overwhelming pleasure, grew numb. I wasn't happy, but was merely stimulated, trapped in a cycle of seeking more and more, just to feel anything. Pleasure became my prison. Then came the storm. I was on my way to deliver my most precious cargo when the sea turned violent. In hours, the waves claimed all my cargo. Stranded on a barren island, stripped of every luxury, I was left with nothing but dry bread and plain water. At first, despair swallowed me. But then, something shifted. My senses, freed from indulgence, awakened. That humble bread filled me with gratitude. The clear water was sweeter than any wine I had ever tasted. Silence, once uncomfortable, became music. I watched ants build their hills, listened to birds stitching songs into the sky, felt the rhythm of waves. The simple act of touching sand and grass seemed to miraculously reduce anxiety. Walking barefoot increased my energy. The sounds of nature were a soothing balm, a welcome change after my ears had been bombarded by the town's excessive high-pitched noises. It dawned on me that excess had not given me joy. It had stolen it. I was blinded to life's everyday miracles. When I finally returned home, humbled and broke, it was my family, the very ones I had neglected, who offered me their support. I sold my prized possessions, and with their help, the business rose again. This time, fairly shared, with respect for every hand that built it. I discovered that true wealth lies not in excess, but in balance. In savoring a simple meal, a quiet evening with loved ones, or the honesty of hard work. The greatest pleasure is not in having the most, but in appreciating the little we already have. If every day becomes a banquet, the soul starves. Moderation is not a loss. It is the secret that keeps our senses sharp, our gratitude alive, and our spirit free. So choose simplicity today. Let yourself feel the cool breeze, taste the plain water, hear the silence. In those small, ordinary gifts lies life's deepest richness. Too much can blind you, but just enough can awaken you.